Hello and welcome into this week's edition of the Rookie Stripes podcast here on Racing News Now. I'm Garth. That's Tyler, who wanted me in early today and then was late himself. So how's it going?
I'm tired.
Same. You made me get up early today, and I didn't even need to get up that early.
Yeah, well, I
Because
didn't mean to stay up
you
until
then
like 5
overslept.
a.m. So.
Tyler's been nagging on me for almost a week now that he wanted to get done this week as early as he wanted to get done last week. That we didn't get done as early.
Come on.
And then
first
show
time
up
I
on
mentioned it
time
was
this
yesterday.
week.
Come on.
Huh?
First time I mentioned it was yesterday. Don't do me like that.
Semantics. I show up on time and he overslept. So
Garth's got Cali on his mind.
I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved Southern California this weekend. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to Dover, but I don't know if there was that much attention to pay to it. I caught back up on it last night, but
dude, I hate this NASCAR, like the Gen whatever we're on right now.
The Gen 7, next gen?
Yeah, the really sucky gen where they tried to fix everything from the last couple of cars
and made it worse.
And they just didn't. And I don't understand, because if you look at the Gen 6, before they started doing all the weird, dumb rules packages with the giant park bench on the back of the car and like 3 horsepower, it was actually a pretty decent car. And then now you got this car that kind of just added on to the problems from what their rules packages were and just gave them justifications to keep doing the same rules package. And I don't know. Small wang, big engine, go racing.
Well, I saw a video of Jimmy Johnson talking at some point this weekend about, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to the effect of that he was trying to do something that would have worked in the old cars, like get to somebody's like quarter panel or something, and he couldn't do it because the air bubble was like stronger than it had been even in the Gen 6 car, which is wild to me.
I believe it. You got the diffuser and the weird splitter on these. That diffuser is like killing this car. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to jump on to the uninformed train of just get rid of the diffuser and it'll be perfect. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, you get rid of the diffuser, it's probably going to be at least a little better.
Did you see the picture of Bubba's car after he got into the wreck? Because he had that Air Force Warthog paint scheme, so he had like the big teeth and mouth on the front, and he got the nose caved in, so the diffuser holes like got turned up, and it looked like a face.
Yeah, the freaking Air Force design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, lots of racing this weekend from Dover. I wouldn't call it a terrible weekend, but I wouldn't call it the best weekend of the year either. We'll start off with ARCA because that was the first race of the weekend. Also, before we get too far into it, I need to make a formal apology for saying that F1 was last weekend. It is, in fact, this weekend in Miami.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was this past weekend also because I was so excited to see the blue Ferrari, and no blue Ferrari.
I literally was looking in the F1 app last week and didn't realize that May 5th was the next weekend.
Have you seen anything on that new blue Ferrari?
No.
It's gone from it'll probably be a entirely blue car to maybe like a blue stripe.
I'm not surprised.
No, me neither. I was hoping that they would just take the normal paint scheme for the year and just make it blue. And
did you see, speaking of F1, I know we were about to talk about Dover, but since we're on the topic, Mercedes was offering Verstappen, what was it, 150 million pounds or something to come race with him next year to replace Lewis?
He is now the biggest loser. They're offering him 150 pounds.
I mean, is he the biggest loser, though? Because that would make him by far the most well-paid driver in the field, by far. I mean, it doesn't even matter if he wins at that point.
That was a fat joke.
Was it?
Biggest loser?
Yeah. What does the biggest loser have to do with it, though?
150 million pounds. Oh. Units of fat is now a unit of
currency,
I guess.
Fat jokes.
I can't deal with that. British.
Oh, you can't deal that other countries have different ways of doing things than America?
It's not a pound. You can't have a weight as a monetary thing.
Pound isn't a weight for them, though, because they use the metric system.
Yeah,
That's literally only a
metric,
thing for us.
goated because
Okay,
we're better.
you say so.
None of them.
Um,
At least
yeah.
when F1 cars are going around track, my screen doesn't say 300 something kilometers per hour because I feel like that's misleading.
Well, yes, because in Britain they do use miles per hour. They use our distance calculations, but everything else they use the metric system.
That's so
I
dumb.
think. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Britain is the one European country that does use everything that we use. I'm not sure.
We
I'm
have
pretty sure
cities
it's
that have the economy of some European countries, so I don't really care about their
yeah.
currency.
You're gonna have to if you ever go over there. If you ever travel and explore over there, you're gonna need to.
Oh, I'm sure in 25 years when I get to vacation time to be able to go over there, I'll feel a little different about it.
Maybe you should have gone into a profession that had more vacation time.
Yeah, I would have had to finish college, and I'm not going back to school.
Not necessarily. I'm
Yeah, necessarily.
sure there's something that you didn't need college for that you'd get better vacation time with.
I wouldn't be making near as much money as I am.
I'm also not sure that's true.
If you can find something with better vacation time that still makes 100K a year, I'll listen to you.
Okay.
Not gonna do
I
anything
don't have
about it, but
anything
I'll listen.
offhand, but if I ever find anything, I will remember this conversation and I'll
I'll
tell you.
find like underwater welding and send it to me and be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Send you to buildsubmarines.com.
Dude, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Every time I see that car, I'm like, oh man, I want to build submarines. Like, that's cool.
They have a really cool ad that I've noticed on Racing Reference where it's the 6 and the 17 cars driving through water like they're submarines.
Such a cool sponsor. I never thought that would be something I'd be so hyped about.
I know, right?
I want one of them to win a race in the damn build submarines car so I can buy a race win diecast of it.
I still laugh. The episode where we figured out what buildsubmarines.com was and you were like reading through their website. You know what I titled that episode?
No what?
Tyler nerds out about submarines.
Well, I mean, it's cool. I thought it was like building some like little tiny submarine for some civilian company, and then no, we're building nuclear subs. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a national security thing on a NASCAR.
Yeah, right. We're finally getting cool sponsors back.
Oh yeah, we lost M&M's, but we gained build submarines.
That's right. Well, we got STP back this weekend.
We did, yeah.
That was pretty cool. I thought when that was first announced that was going to be the Darlington throwback, but no, that was the regular standard paint scheme for Dover.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Wish Corey could have done a little better with it, but Legacy was way off all weekend, period.
More Darlington throwback paint schemes have been coming out.
I've seen that. Do we want to talk about those this week, or do we want to wait till next week when there's more?
We should probably wait till next week.
Yeah. Because yeah, there's been a few this week. I saw Brandon Jones announced his today, which literally wasn't hardly anything.
I'm gonna end up getting a Hendrick 4-car set because I'm an idiot.
I got the Hendrick 4-car set from last year.
Gonna end up
it just showed up like a month ago.
I'm gonna end up ordering a 4 set and then getting like whichever one wins.
I got the 4-car set of their throwbacks from last year and their patriotic schemes from the 600.
Hate my life.
Anyway, we're getting off topic here. Talking about Dover, we'll start off with ARCA. This race started off like a typical ARCA race has lately. The 18 and the 20 were the class of the field early on. Sawalich seemed to have an edge on Ruggiero. Ruggiero got a penalty for jumping a restart at one point and got sent to the back. And then Sawalich got put into the wall by Connor Zilich on a restart. And that ended Sawalich's day, which screwed up my fantasy points day. I still hold the lead, though, over Tyler. Spoiler alert.
Shockingly.
Right? So, through all of that, Connor Zilich picks up his first main ARCA win. That kid's going places.
Oh, yeah, he's faster than hell. Which, I don't want to say I called it, because, I mean, I don't really know anything about the guy. But when he started doing NASCAR starts this year, I did say his sports car resume was pretty good. That kid can wheel a car.
Sports car doesn't always translate super well to NASCAR. It clearly has in his case, but it doesn't always.
Yeah, I know Jordan Taylor had a bit of a rough time getting to it, but I think because Connor Zilish does like the prototypes in that kind of racing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that the prototypes and NASCAR are different enough that there's like no similarities, so it's kind of a clean slate. Whereas for Jordan Taylor, it's similar, and he's trying to drive the car the same way as he drive a GT car, and it's not going to translate.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Either way, Zilich has been fast, and I don't think that's the last win we're going to see out of him this season. I think he's going to be right up there with Sawalich and Ruggiero all season, which is good that we're getting another car really in that battle for the win every week, because it's just been the 18 and the 20 for probably 4 years now, and that's getting a little old. So,
Can you
I
tell
mean,
somebody at ARCA to come up with a paint scheme that isn't a white base with a completely
they
white
even
hood?
made the comment about that on the broadcast at one point. They were like, it's a good day to be a white car. Everybody second through sixth is a white car.
I don't even want to say what I think about that.
Hey, but it wasn't a white car leading, because Sawalich was still leading at that point.
Well, then all the white cars took out the other cars. I'm gonna drop that point.
Yeah. Let's talk about Cody Dennison, or better known as Camelot 331 on YouTube. Made his second ARCA start this weekend, his fourth attempt though. Failed to qualify for both Daytona and Phoenix. Made his first career start at Talladega last weekend with,
God,
as
okay.
far as I'm aware, no prior racing experience. Literally is just a YouTuber and decided he wanted to go racing.
So you have to be a certain age to go on Talladega, but have no previous experience.
Right, you just have to pass ARCA's like little testing. Which,
what's the test? Can you push the throttle down?
essentially, from what I have heard, and this is hearsay, so it may not be correct. Don't come at me, Charlie, if this isn't right. But
Objection.
yeah, from what I have been told, the ARCA licensing process is literally you just have to make a few laps at Toledo and show that you can hold it on the bottom. You don't have to make a certain lap time or anything.
Well, that explains a lot about the ARCA race this weekend.
It does. And it explains a lot about Cody Dennison. Cody Dennison is a good dude. I like his YouTube content. I have watched him for a while now. I really like his Camelot 331 channel. He is not a race car driver, though. And he is showing that now in his first two races. He did like a recap video of his Talladega race for his first start. And I don't know if these were shots that were on the broadcast, because I didn't watch that boring ass race, or if they were shots that somebody he had with him filmed from the track, but there were shots specifically of him at different points in the race. And there were points where he was like in three wide situations in the middle. And I am amazed he didn't wipe the field out, because he's here in the middle and can't hold a line. He's just bouncing back and forth, almost bouncing into the car on the outside, overcorrects almost into the car on the inside. Like, it was bad. Then
already basically Joey Logano.
Yeah. Then at Dover this week, twice, not once, but twice, he could not hold a line and was holding the leaders up. Like,
The lap traffic in that race was stupid.
He enters the corner like a half lane off the bottom, so Sawalich decides to go to the outside to get around him, and he drifts up the track in front of Sawalich. Twice he did that.
Although, granted, if you've never been in a race car before, and the first two tracks you go to are Talladega and Dover, good luck.
I mean, Talladega, I don't see being that big of an issue, especially if you're not in a very fast car, which he wasn't.
No, but still, if you're in the pack like that, having no spatial awareness of the car,
of the time, except after the one caution and at the the initial start,
they did just single file around top the entire race anyway. So.
Yeah. From what I saw, he was usually only in a pack of like 3 or 4 cars most of the race.
Still having zero spatial awareness of your car and trying to do a drafting track like that.
I mean, from what I've heard, Talladega is probably the easiest track to drive, especially in an ARCA car, because you literally just push the pedal down and follow the car in front of you.
Tell that to Joey Logano.
Yeah, right. But that's the thing. Like, he has proven 2 weeks in a row now he's a moving chicane, and he's not a race car driver. And I hate to say that because I like the dude. Like I said, I like his YouTube content. He's not a race car driver though, and he's just a hazard out there. And he wasn't the only one that was causing issues when the leaders would lap them in this race, but he was, I think, the most visible one because I noticed him at least twice doing that.
What
And then
car
there
was
were
he
other lap
driving?
cars that were also being an issue when they were trying to be passed.
What car was he driving?
He was in the '06 this week.
Oh yeah, okay.
Last week at Talladega, he was in the '01. It was one of the fast track cars. I think it was the '01. It might have been the '11.
Yeah, I remember seeing the 06 a couple times, and none of it was very
He's
good.
also going to be at Kansas this weekend.
Oh boy, that'll be fun.
I don't remember in what car. I think he's back in a fast track car. Okay, yeah, he's in the 11 this week. Cody Dennison from Hoax Bluff, Alabama.
Hey, it's ARCA. Everybody gets a chance.
Ain't that the truth? I mean, hell, that just proves to me that if I come with enough money, I could drive an ARCA car right now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I have never been in a race car in my life. The closest I've been in is one of those competitive go-karts they've got in Speedway. You know what I'm talking about? Like K1
Yeah.
Speed or what? Or no,
Yeah, it is
Fisher's.
K1.
Not K. No, it's not K1. It's Sarah Fisher's. What? Speedway Indoor Karting, SIK.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that I went to, and I've only done it once. That's the only time I've been in anything that would even remotely resemble a race car.
Oh hey, you want to go to Toledo real quick and do a couple laps,
Right?
and then go to Kansas this week?
Right, like that's my point. I've never been anything even close to resembling a race car, but if I brought enough money right now, I could drive in an ARCA race. How stupid is
Probably
that?
bring your RAV4 to Toledo and make it into
right?
the race.
And I'm not fully knocking on Cody Dennison here. Like, this is more a knock on ARCA than anything, that they would allow somebody with zero experience out there that drives like this. Like, it's very clear he shouldn't be in a race car. It's very clear, and he's not the only one out there like that. There's a few drivers out there that
By a few
very
means half
clearly
the
should
field.
not be in a race car, and yet they are.
We're having the same conversation about ARCA that we have every week about ARCA.
We are, but it somehow evolves every week.
It's like the problem with ARCA. There's just a different like highlight of the problem.
Exactly. Like, and this is why fans are leaving ARCA in droves right now, because you've got people out, half the field is people that shouldn't be in a race car, and then you've got 2 cars that run away with every race. Now maybe 3 if the 28 is going to be up there as well, but the 18 and the 20 more often than not are going to win the race. Who wants to watch when you know one of 2 cars is always going to win the race, and half the field out there are people that shouldn't even be in a race car?
Have you watched an F1 race recently?
I mean, I'm not really sure how we can compare F1 to ARCA in this sense.
You know, one of 2 drivers is going to win the race, and there's a whole bunch of drivers in the field that shouldn't be there.
I don't know about that. The only one I would say that probably shouldn't be there is Lance Stroll. Everybody else, I think you can make an argument for that probably should, that they could be there legitimately.
Yeah, okay, but still, but yes, half of those drivers.
I agree on the. I mean, it's mostly one car. Well, no, I would say it's one car that's going to win every week, because when Max doesn't win, it's not always Checo.
It's never him.
I mean, it was last year until Red Bull decided to nerf him.
Red Bull
now
Chronicles.
It's Sainz. But yeah, I don't know. ARCA has got some things that they need to address and fix, and they're not going to. Because if they were going to, they would have done it by now. But they are...
If he wanted to, he would.
Exactly. They are slowly building their own coffin.
Slowly?
Well,
it got built
it's already built, and they've got one leg in it, basically.
It seems like you're starting to put the second leg into it.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I've heard ARCA's not long for this world.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when, but I don't think it's got much longer left.
They're putting the other leg into the coffin, and they're doing it willingly.
In fact, and I don't have any concrete evidence to back this up, so don't quote me on this, but this may even be the last year for ARCA, because
oh my god,
with the new TV contract next year, there's going to be a lot of changes next year.
What will Venturini do next year?
I know, right? So, again, I have no concrete evidence on this, so I don't know this for sure, but Arca going away might be one of those changes. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. All right, we should probably move on from Arca and not spend the entire day talking about a series that isn't going to exist next year.
Tyler just wants to get out of here today.
I want to quit talking about Arca.
He wanted to be done by a certain time and then doesn't even show up when he says he's going to. So, and then he gets mad that we're going over time.
Can't pretend.
Typical Tyler moment. All right, moving on to Xfinity. I still can't stand Austin Hill.
What?
Austin Hill is a bully. And
what?
Let me set the scene for you. Sheldon Creed, nice young boy Sheldon Creed. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but Sheldon Creed is a good dude.
That dude is a man, not a boy. Fine.
No, it was a joke.
Older than both of us.
I don't think he's older than me.
Really?
You think he's in his 30s?
That dude looks like he's in his mid-30s.
He does, but he is definitely not older than me. Hang on.
Holy crap.
He's 26.
What?
Yeah.
Ain't no way.
Born September 30th, 1990.
Okay.
Anyway, nice young boy Sheldon Creed having a great day. Takes the lead on a late restart. I think it was the last regulation restart before we went into overtime, if I remember correctly. Takes the lead from his former asshole teammate, Austin Hill. Passes him cleanly. Does not make a bit of contact. Passes Austin Hill cleanly. Granted, I think there was still like 10 laps to go at this point. Clears Austin Hill down the front stretch. They go down into turn 1. Austin Hill puts the bumper to him. Tries to turn him into turn 1. Tries to wreck Sheldon Creed for the lead with 10 to go. It wasn't even the last lap. After Creed passed him cleanly. Bro, Austin Hill.
Are we surprised at all?
Stand that guy.
Are we surprised at all?
Huh? No. Dude has no talent. He's a one-trick pony. He's only good on super speedways. His only wins on non-super speedway tracks are races he's backed into that he shouldn't have won. He's a one-trick pony, can only win on drafting tracks, and is not this immense talent that RCR wants to pretend that he is. He's a scrub,
RCR also pretends that Austin Dillon is a good driver, so
that's true. They seem to think Austin Hill is part of the family at this point, so it wouldn't surprise me. I bet you Austin Hill is going to be Austin Dillon's replacement in the 3-car. I bet you anything.
That's been like 5 years in the making.
Yeah.
We're going to go from mid to better win percentage, but still mid.
Yeah. I mean, bro is a super speedway merchant, and that is it.
Drives like Joey Logano does on super speedways, but everywhere.
Yeah. I'm over Austin Hill. I'm over all of the Austin Hill is great. He's going to be the next blah, blah, blah. He's the number one guy in RCR Xfinity, only because they put preferential treatment on him. And he's not the number one guy at RCR Xfinity now. Jesse Love has proven this season that he is better than Austin Hill. Granted, he doesn't have as many wins yet, but that's mostly because he keeps getting screwed over in certain races. Jesse Love probably should have at least 2 or 3 wins already at this point and only has 1. So Jesse Love has been consistently outperforming Austin Hill. And more often than not, if Austin Hill finishes higher than him, it's because Jesse had some sort of bad luck that put him back in the pack late in the race.
All right. On a positive note, since we got to say that we don't hate everything, Carson Quaffle is...
I don't have to say that. I do hate everything.
Okay, fair enough. Carson Quaffle is really, really fast. Good for him. And Ryan Truex has a really killer win percentage right now.
At Dover, yes.
Specifically at Dover. Hasn't he only made one other start since then, too?
No, he made a decent amount of Xfinity starts last season. Let me see here.
Regardless, Ryan Truex at Dover, you're not going to win if you're not Ryan Truex.
I don't know how many Dover starts he even had prior to last year. He may be 2 for 2 at Dover. No, he's not. He is definitely not 2 for 2 at Dover. He is 2 for 8 at Dover.
Hey, that's still a quarter of the time. That's better than we'll ever do.
Yeah, but last year was the first time he ran an Xfinity race at Dover since 2018.
Well, I mean, if social media gets their way, that might have just turned into a cup race at Dover. So
I mean, it should. I mean, I think he's better than he gets credit for. I don't know that he's quite as good as Martin, but I think he's good enough that he deserves something decent in the Cup Series.
yeah, well, put him on the list of like 400 other people that deserve something decent in the Cup Series.
Right? I guess we could probably make the same argument about Cup that we just made about ARCA. Half the field doesn't deserve to be there, although not necessarily in the same way. If you make it to the Cup Series, you can drive. Like, you're not out here doing the same thing some of these guys in ARCA are doing. But
And yet, I'm still surprised by some of the headliners of the sport every time we go to Super Speedway.
well, and that's the thing. I say that, but Quinn Houff made it to the Cup Series.
He did.
You know, Quinn Houff went straight from ARCA to Cup.
I did know that.
Did you? That was an interesting decision by Starcom Racing to pull him up to the Cup Series. I think it was a bad decision by them because before that they had Kyle Weatherman and they were actually running decent.
Well, it is that team, so there's a reason
That
they
doesn't
don't
exist anymore. Although I
Yeah.
thought I saw the other day that they're trying to get a charter for next year.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so we may see the return of Starcom next year.
This is a problem with NASCAR. Like, we could have had Dale Jr. in the Cup Series, but because we have the charter system, instead we're going to have Starcom with Quinn Houff.
Well, I mean, it may not be with Quinn Houff. The team may return, but it may not be with Quinn Houff. I wouldn't be surprised if they go find somebody else at this point. Because, I mean, how long has he been out of a car now? When was the last time he made a start?
I don't know, but if he can bring a sponsorship.
Quinn Hoof. Last start was the end of 2021. So he's been out for over 2 years now.
Yeah, well.
I mean, not as long as I thought it was, but yeah, I wouldn't put him back in the car, but I wouldn't have put him in the car in the first place. So there is that.
There's a reason why we don't own a NASCAR team.
Because I would be successful. But yes, good for Ryan Truex, taking home the win in the Xfinity race this week. He is 2 in a row now at Dover in the spring. They go
Carson Quaffle needs to be full time.
Yes, he does, and hopefully he's turning some heads and making it to where he can be full time. I wouldn't be surprised to see him full time in a junior motorsports car next year.
Yeah.
In fact, he might win a race before the year's out. It wouldn't surprise me, especially with how he ran on Saturday.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's basically the second coming of Josh Berry at this point. Because Josh Berry essentially was on the same track, ran late models for Junior for a while, just like Carson has. Junior finally gave him a shot in a few part-time races in Xfinity and ended up winning 2 of them in his part-time season.
Yeah.
He won 1 in the 8 car, and then he filled in for Michael Annett when Michael Annett was injured in the 1 and won one of the races he had in the 1 car also, and then went full-time in the 8 the next year. So Carson seems to be on a similar path, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him win before the end of the season. I mean, he came very close to it this week.
All right, let's move on to the Cup race. I hated it. This car sucks, and that's all I got.
Tyler is really trying to speed this along, even though he's the one that made this as late as it is. Oh, Denny.
I just don't want to talk about a mid-ass Cup race anymore.
I mean, I didn't think it was terrible. It could have been better. The race for the win sucked because air blocking sucks, and this car sucks.
If you really want to hear what I think about this Cup race, go listen to Denny Hamlin's podcast.
Oh, yeah?
I agree with Denny Hamlin.
Have you actually listened to his podcast? I didn't think you listened to it.
I listened to a decent amount of clips from it.
And what did he say?
About the air blocking and how there's not enough difference in speeds between the cars in the Cup Series now. Like, you get the guys back of the field that are really good, you know, they fly through everybody, but then they get up to the front and then they can't pass anybody because the margin of difference in their speeds is so close now. That's why, like, you get the battles for the lead where, like, somebody's maybe 100th of a second a lap faster than the guy in front of them, but that doesn't matter with these cars.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You could be 100th of a second faster, but that air bubble is going to negate that and then some. So
Yeah, you
it's
can get
not going to
there, but you
matter
can't
once you get
pass.
close enough to the lead.
The whole you can get there, but you can't get past them thing used to be like because they would defend really well for the
Hmm.
position and make you wear your tires out, and now it's just because you can't get there.
Yeah, exactly. I've said this multiple times now that I think the biggest thing to fix this is get rid of the splitter. Now, they've made that little notch in the middle of the splitter like they were trying to fix this, but clearly it hasn't fixed it. And I don't know, it's weird because it's like they made the effort, but they couldn't get rid of the splitter because they think they have to have the splitter for some reason. Which is weird
It
to me because unless I'm mistaken, and I may not understand how everything in this car fully works, but it doesn't seem to me that the splitter actually benefits anything. So why have we held on to it through 3 generations of cars now?
Well, I mean, if you have a car that's designed along the idea of having a splitter and what that does for the downforce of the car, the splitter makes sense. But if you understand that the splitter is part of the problem and you try to get rid of it and then still have it anyway, I mean, it's in line with like every other bad decision NASCAR's made in the past 20 years. Of it looks like they tried to do something about it and then they didn't.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly.
I'm done giving NASCAR a free pass on all this stuff.
Oh, I was done giving them a free pass a long time ago. But it is what it is at this point. They're not going to change. They haven't changed in
It's okay. There's a
15
better
years.
racing series in the U.S. and nobody watches.
Yeah, I I don't know. Um, Kyle Busch fast for the first time all season. Started on the pole, ran up front a lot of the race. I did like at one point where um, Jamie McMurray, they were talking about Kyle Busch, and Jamie said something to the effect of Kyle's been fast all day. He's been running in the top 10 all day. Then they bring up a graphic of like, it was like a line graph of where he's been all day. And Jamie's goes, and as you can see, been as low as 11th today. Jamie, 11th is not in the top 10.
That's why Jamie isn't NASCAR anymore. Can't do math.
Clearly. I mean, hey, dude won the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 and the Coke 600, right?
Yeah,
So,
I was there for the Brickyard one.
were you? Nice.
Yeah,
So clearly didn't need to do math.
he's got as many championships as Denny Hamlin too. So
Yeah, that's true. Well, Denny made the comment I saw a few weeks ago where he was talking about the fact that he hadn't won a championship, and he said he would almost rather not win a championship at this point because he said that at this point he's one of the best drivers to have not won a championship. But if he wins a championship, the way he sees it, he's one of the worst drivers to have won a championship. So he would rather be one of the best to have not won a championship than one of the worst to have won a championship.
a weird way to explain you're not good enough to win a championship.
Right? That's what he said. Also, where has Noah Gragson come from? Like, I feel like he has quietly become the fastest SHR car, and he is always up there now. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
where did this come from?
I don't know.
Are we
Of course,
about to see a Noah Gragson win?
Eric Almirola was the only guy at that team that could pull off a win every season other than Kevin Harvick. So I don't know if it's something to do with the 10 car specifically, because I don't think Eric Almirola is that good either. But
I mean, I disagree with that. I think Eric Almirola is one of the most underrated drivers in the sport, and he has showed that now that he's in the 20 car in Xfinity. I mean, he's got an average finish of 1.5 in his 2 starts this season.
it's a 20 car in Xfinity, though.
Right. But now that he's got a really good car, he's showing that he can run really well with it. Whereas
Okay.
SHR was mid and he was probably outperforming it sometimes, but most of the time running right about where it should have been. I don't think
So
it has anything to do with the 10 car. I think SHR as a whole has gotten better this season because I mean, you notice Briscoe's been up there part of the time. Barry has been up there a little bit. Priest has been hit or miss, but he's been up a little bit. So I think SHR is making strides in the right direction, but Gragson seems to be right now over the past few races does seem to be the top dog for them. I mean, he was the only one in the top 13 for SHR cars this week, and he finished 6th. Josh Berry was the next closest SHR car in 14th. Now, Briscoe finished 19th, but I don't think that's indicative of where he ran because I remember seeing him in the top 10 for a good chunk of the race.
Briscoe never finishes where he should have.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, he was a lap down in 19th. I don't know what
He has
happened.
never finished a race where he was running on speed, ever.
I mean, when he won at Phoenix, he did.
Okay, once.
There is that.
Should have won the Indy Road Course first year. Should have won Bristol Dirt. Didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more just the curse of SHR at this point.
Whatever you want to call it, it's painful to watch sometimes.
And also, I'd like to point out for the first time, maybe ever since his Daytona 500 win, Austin Cindric outran one of his teammates.
Which one?
Logano. Cindric finished 15th. Logano was 16th.
Oh, man. Beat Joey Logano. Ooh.
Right? Meanwhile, Ryan Blaney is 7th and led a good chunk of the race.
That's about par for the course.
Yep.
IndyCar. Another banger that you probably didn't watch.
I did watch it, but I disagree that it was a banger. I thought it was better.
What the hell do you want from
I thought it was better than Long Beach, but I wouldn't call it a banger.
What do you expect from an open wheel series?
Texas last year.
Okay, well, this isn't Texas, so
yes,
we turn right sometimes.
I'm aware of that, but we need more Texases. We need more Texasses.
I agree. So let IndyCar onto ovals again.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll call NASCAR up right now, and I'll tell them to.
You do that. Tell IndyCar that it's 3 fans want to see oval races.
Yeah,
maybe I have a feeling that the Penske cheating situation is going to kind of snowball into some other stuff, and it's probably going to end up with Roger selling the series and keeping the Speedway. So I don't know if that's good or bad, because I remember one of the bidders was Liberty Media, which owns F1 right now, and I don't like that idea at all, because I feel it just become the feeder series to F1, but like legitimately this time. So I'm hoping somebody else comes in that just really likes IndyCar for whatever reason and wants to promote NASCAR. It. God, I'd kill myself.
It could become the open wheel series for NASCAR.
They NASCAR just changed the rules regulations until it became the wheel and modifieds again. No, I would hate that, but I don't know. That's about as good of an open wheel road course race as you could possibly get. I don't know what more you expect out of that. They're beating and banging on each other the entire race. Yeah, okay. They were beating and banging on each other the entire race. It's probably the most contact I've seen in an open wheel race with as few crashes as they had. Like, people actually finished the race and they were still beating and banging on each other the entire time. Hit every car in the field in that race.
Yeah, I saw they were talking about he thought he was still in an Xfinity car.
Yeah, right. McLaren has like the worst start to a season of a big team in open wheel series that I've ever seen.
They have a win
somehow. Now, other than Pato winning St. Pete, they have done absolutely nothing. They've all finished outside the top 20, I think, other than Pato's win, Rossi being in top 15 at Long Beach, and maybe at St. Pete. But I mean, they all finished outside the top 20 this week, and only one of them didn't finish the race.
Now, what was the reason for that, though? Because at least Rossi was in the top 10 at one point, wasn't he? Why did they all finish back there?
Pato qualified up front and then tried to go for a gap that didn't really exist on, who was it? Fittipaldi, and ended up taking him out, going through the S's, and then they got an avoidable contact penalty, which whatever. but that sent him straight to the back. And then Teo Porcher is not adjusting to IndyCar very well. That's an understatement. He's just slow. And then Rossi, they just didn't put the left rear tire on, so when he came out of the pits, it went flying off, and then he didn't finish the race from there. I can't support McLaren anymore. I like Pato and I like Rossi, but now that they've fired Dave Malukas, they have screwed over two of my favorite drivers that didn't have a long-term thing between him and James Hinchcliffe.
Now, hang on. Was it a firing? Because I thought I'd saw that it was mutual, that he was going to be out for a while, and they just decided it was better for both of them if they just let him go.
No, they fired him.
Okay.
They invoked a clause in his contract that said if he missed 4 events in the season, they could terminate his contract and just see ya.
That seems like a clause.
This is the same team.
Wait, so they're counting thermal even though that wasn't a points race?
Yes.
Hmm.
This is the same team that posted like 6 different Instagram posts about how the team is a family and we all work together, and then fired him. Also, there's videos that came out of Malukas like helping the team around at Barber, like just being a team member, even though he's still in a cast on his left hand, and helping move stuff, helping clean stuff. He's been there helping everything he can. It's not his fault.
He didn't even know this weekend that he was fired.
No, they just rolled in Monday morning and said, "You're fired."
Okay, that's fucked.
Yeah, it's what they did to James Hinchcliffe. Did you hear about that when they came into the series? James Hinchcliffe was under contract with Arrow Schmidt Peterson when McLaren came in, and they bought out the Schmidt Peterson parts as Arrow McLaren. And they had Hinchcliffe and Robert Wickens under contract, and Robert Wickens was paralyzed at that point. So they were like, their official statement was, we're going to put somebody in the 6 car until Wickens can come back, and then the 6 car is his. And then that just disappeared at some point. That, I mean, what happened to the 6 car? They put like 7 different people in there. But then Wickens never came back because, I mean, you can't drive an Indy car while you're paralyzed. But they came in with Hinchcliffe, and Hinchcliffe was under contract. And remember Hinchcliffe like posting something like, "Oh, sweet, McLaren's here. It's a really good team. We're gonna be really good." And they said, "Yeah, we are. You're not." And they just terminated his contract.
Wow.
So then he did like a part-time thing with Andretti. He did like a couple 500s or something, and now he's in the TV booth. I'm like, they're screwing over all these likable drivers. And I mean, I understand this is how it works in Europe, but trying to think of a comparative NASCAR thing.
See, the weirdest thing about it too, though, is Zach Brown isn't even from Europe, is he? I thought he was from here.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been in European racing his entire life, so the culture is completely different. But the whole Dave Malukas thing, I mean, I guess the Dave Malukas thing is like when Chase Elliott broke his leg doing the skiing last year or the year before or whatever. Like, if Hendrick had just gone, you missed a couple races, so you're gone, and we're gonna pick somebody from the Xfinity series.
Can you imagine if Hendrick had fired Chase last year after that? Like, his cult of fans would have burned Hendrick to the ground.
Oh, that team wouldn't exist anymore.
Nope.
I just think it's ridiculous that, I mean, Dave Malukas, he's really good. I was really looking forward to this opportunity of McLaren for him. Like, he finally got the opportunity with funding and sponsorship and a team that's really good. I mean, he overperformed the crap out of that Dale Coyne car. You can't tell me anybody else is going to do better in that Dale Coyne car than he did the past couple of years. Gets in a mountain biking accident the week before the season. Nobody plans to break their wrist on a mountain bike. Like, I guess this goes back to NASCAR finally letting their drivers do things. Like, Larson's doing the 500 this year, and Larson also goes and does all his dirt track stuff. Like, NASCAR is actually letting them do things again. Whereas the open wheel series. I mean, you're allowed to do what, sports cars, but God forbid you try to ride a bike for fun. I mean,
Right.
I think it sends the wrong message. And if I was a young driver in the McLaren program and I saw somebody as bright and promising as Dave Malukas come in, fall off his bike, break his wrist, have some medical complications with it, and they say, "See ya." I'm sitting there like, "What? Okay, I guess I'm
Right.
never going to get to drive one of these cars."
Mm-hmm.
I just think it sends a really bad message, and the James Hinchcliffe thing was still a bad taste in my mouth, and now you got this, and it, like, the first time, okay, new team, you don't really understand how it works here, I get it. Second time, we're a big family, except you.
Yeah.
There's a point where it goes from, okay, that kind of sucks, to, all right, now you've done it twice. You're not going to fool me twice.
It honestly surprises me, as cutthroat as that team seems to be, that they haven't cut Rossi loose yet. Because Rossi
That's
seems
what
to,
I'm saying.
right. He's been very underwhelming since going to McLaren. It surprises me they haven't cut him loose yet.
The six car in general, because I think Felix Rosenquist has been doing pretty well in that car. I understand, like, wrecked out of the 500 while racing for top five kind of stuff, like, but so did Pato. But there's no chance of Pato getting kicked out of his seat right now that I know of.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
like,
Pato's the number one guy there. I mean, no matter how you slice it, he has been the number one guy.
right. But if you take, like, just what happened to Pato in the past season or two, where he's like been racing for lead and wrecked, or had a really bad qualifying and overcompensated and wrecked in the middle of the race. Like, if Rosenquist is doing that in the five car, he would have been done like in the middle of the season last year. But Pato's not, and I love Pato. I think he's a great. It seems that they're so objective on the six car that they don't look at the other two cars they've got ever. And it's just like, oh well, Rossi finished 17th again. No, that kind of sucks, but Pato wrecked for fourth place again and finished 20 somethings. But it's okay because we can point at the blame at whoever's driving the six car this week.
Yeah, I don't know. Great job though, McLaren. You're doing a bang up job there.
Yeah, I don't get it. I
I
guess
had to.
a positive from this race, Linus Lundqvist went from 19th to third in this race on the three stop strategy,
Nice.
going as hard as he could through the entire field and went from 19th to third. That deserves more recognition than it's getting right now. Yeah, most of the field was trying to save fuel towards the end, like in the middle towards the end, and then the top three ish were just going balls to the wall. It was pretty fun to watch. Then they had a late race restart, and granted, it would have been more fun if everybody's on the same strategy to have that late race restart, because you still had some guys like Pelot still needed to save a little bit of fuel, which kind of ruined it. But I mean, you did get everybody back together. I know Colton Herta made some moves towards the end of the race. Colton Herta is now leading the championship, by the way.
I saw
Um,
that. Yeah.
which, if he can keep that up, that's great for him, because he's fast and can win races. We know that. He just hasn't really been able to put the whole thing together recently. And I mean, he's also had his fair share of wrecking from the lead at Nashville and different things like that. But I really like Herta. I really hope he does well this season, and he's off to a good start.
I will say before we move on to picks, I got a good chuckle. I think it was Townsend. I don't remember. It was either Townsend or Hinch, but I'm pretty sure it was Townsend. That when the mannequin fell off the bridge, he made some sort of comment about, "Is it inflatable?" I got a good chuckle out of that.
Man, I hate how the series gets so little publicity that a mannequin falling off of a bridge is the most interesting thing that happened in probably one of the best open wheel races I've seen.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens.
Thank you, Roger.
On to picks for this week. We'll quickly look at how we're doing after last week.
Just say I'm losing and everything. Get on with it.
Are you? I don't think you're losing in everything.
I'm pretty sure I'm losing everything except IndyCar.
Yeah, everything except IndyCar. You closed in ARCA, though, after Sawalich's wreck and Ruggiero finishing third, I think it was, maybe second. 160 to 143 is my lead in ARCA now. Xfinity, of course, I picked Ryan Truex because I know what I'm doing with that. And then Allgaier wrecked at the end, so you could have done better. But my lead in Xfinity is now 60 points. 352 to 2. Cup.
Oh wait, no, I'm still leading trucks too.
Oh, well, we haven't had trucks in a little bit.
Yeah, well.
Maybe that'll change this week. I retake the lead, right? Yes, retake the lead in Cup after Chastain's 12th place finish and Truex finishing third. 276 to 258. So that's 18 points is my lead now in Cup. I cut into your lead a little bit in IndyCar after Pato's abysmal finish, but Dixon didn't do me many favors either after his spin. 89 to is now Tyler's lead in IndyCar, 54 points headed into the Indy GP. All right, on to our picks for this week. We have 4 races this weekend: ARCA, Trucks, and Cup from Kansas, and then F1 in Miami is, in fact, this weekend. Which Max Verstappen, obviously. That is going to be Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN of some sort. All right, so first off, ARCA on... Today is ARCA Saturday? Yes, Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern for the Tide 150 from Kansas. Tyler, who wins the ARCA race?
Jake Finch. He's the only other Toyota guy other than the guy you picked that's worth a damn.
My guy's not a Toyota guy.
Really?
It was last year. He's in
in
the 28 car now. He's in the car Zilich was driving this week.
Oh yeah. Well, Connor Zilich would be my pick every week, but he's not in this week. So
the other Toyota guy is Tanner Gray. Well, besides the other Venturini cars.
I think Jake Finch is better than Tanner Gray. So.
Dean Thompson finished second in this race last year. Just saying. I'm going to go with Connor Mozak. He won the fall race here last year in the 18 for JGR, now driving the car that Connor Zilich won in last week, the Pinnacle 28. So I think Connor Mozak picks up win number 1 of the season this weekend. All right. Xfinity, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1, the heart, or not Xfinity, Trucks. Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, FS1, the Heart of America 200. Tyler, who wins in the Heart of America?
Christian Eckes, we so back, baby.
Shocker.
Christian Eckes.
Is that all you got? You just
That's all I got.
Eckes, we so back, baby. That's it?
That's it.
Okay. I'm going to go with Corey Heim. Ran very well here last year. I believe top 5 in both races. I'd have to pull it back up, but I think it was second in one race and maybe fourth in the other. So Heim is very fast at Kansas. I think he picks up the win this weekend for win number 2 on the season. All right, Cup on Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern on FS1, the Advent Health 4. Tyler, who is healthy enough to win at Kansas? That might be my worst one yet. Go ahead.
All right, that was painful. Don't do that again. It's either going to be a Toyota or it's going to be a Hendrick car.
Is it?
Okay, now that's out of the way. It's going to be a Toyota or it's going to be a Hendrick car. I want to say Denny Hamlin, but I can't go with Denny Hamlin. So I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace. He's got a win here in this car, so he usually runs pretty well here. I think Denny, Reddick, or Bubba all have a pretty fair shot at this.
I mean, Denny did win this race last year, and Reddick won the fall race. So, can you imagine 12 races into the season, and Denny's already got win number 4?
Byron's got a couple, and nobody said anything about it because he's boring.
Well, no, that's true. They both got 3 wins, but it's also Denny, and everybody hates Denny.
There's a reason for that.
Can you imagine he wins this week for 4 wins in 12 races? So that's a third of the season so far. Can you imagine the uproar?
The uproar will be like just me.
I don't know about that. I'm going to go Kyle Larson. Kyle is very good here. I believe he was also top 5 both races last year. I don't remember. Again, I'd have to look, but I think he was at least second in one of them. So
Is this the one where
Kyle,
Denny wrecked him last year? Or was that
that's
Nashville?
right. He was leading on the last lap, and Denny didn't fully wreck him, put him in the wall, and they ended up in second. But yes, you're right. That was that race. Okay, so almost won this race last year until he got dennied. So I think he follows through this year and wins this race. Kyle Larson wins at Kansas. And I think it's going to be it for us this week because Tyler has been rushing us out of this episode for a while now. So blame Tyler for this episode being as short as it is. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, to talk about Kansas and Miami and whatever races are the weekend after that. I haven't looked yet, but we'll find out next week. So have a good week. Enjoy Kansas and Miami. We'll see you next week. At that, I'm Garth. That's Tyler. And this is the Rookie Stripes podcast on Racing News Now.